All right, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. Today we're doing a little self-paced lesson day. Okay, I have a little flip video for you because I won't be here in one of my classes, so I might as well allow all my classes to use it. Okay, we're going to cover a brief little 4.5 lesson. Okay, your graded assignment is still due tomorrow. All right, I'll allow you to turn that in at the end of class if you want some extra time to work on that. But it is going to be due tomorrow, and you'll have, once you're finished with these notes, you can start working on your graded assignment after that. Just a heads up, we'll have a test Wednesday the 30th, so that's a Wednesday that we get after break. That'll be a week from this Wednesday. Okay, here we go. Let's start 4.5. So today in 4.5, we're introduction to parallel lines. We're going to recognize planes and transversals, identify the pairs of angles formed by a transversal, recognize parallel lines. Well, what is a plane? The definition is there for you. It's a surface that if any 2 points on the surface are connected by a line, all points on the line also lie on the surface. Okay, it's 2 dimensions, length and width, which extend infinitely, and it's no thickness. Think of a plane as like a piece of paper, right? That's what a plane is. We're not going to deal a whole lot with planes, just want to introduce what the actual term is. Okay. Coplanar, what does it mean for points, lines, segments to be coplanar? Okay, they are points, lines, or segments that lie on the same plane. So here's my plane here, my piece of paper. All right, these points would be considered coplanar, as would these points would be considered coplanar with that segment. Hey, look at my face here, right? All of these segments and points would be considered coplanar. Okay, non-coplanar points are points that do not lie on the same plane. All right, transversals. Okay, transversal is a line that intersects 2 coplanar points in 2 distinct points. Okay, so what does that look like? So if you think about it like this, here are, and I would draw these examples down. Here are 2 lines. They can be parallel or non-parallel. Okay, the transversal is this blue line that cuts through them. So the 2 black lines lie on 2 separate planes. All right, this blue line cuts through, it intersects both of these lines here. Okay, this segment, the blue segment, is our transversal. All right, we know what parallel lines are. They're 2 coplanar lines that do not intersect. Parallel lines, if you think about it as lying on the same plane, so here's my plane, right? My parallel lines will never cross. They'll go on forever and never touch. Just remember, like when we did, we found the slope of 2 parallel lines. Those 2 parallel lines increase at the same rate. Okay, they're increasing at the same rate because they will never intersect. So if I forget about this plane here, all right, there are my 2 parallel lines. The transversal would hit both of those, so that would still be considered our transversal. And again, we label parallel lines with the 11 or two vertical lines like that. Okay, those lines are said to be parallel. All right. So if you look at these angles here, okay, we're looking at these angles here. There are specific types of angles. So if I have these 2 lines, A and B, and C is considered, that's my transversal. All right, that is considered the transversal. Let's see if I can just write this out. Transversal. Okay, that's a transversal because it hits both of those lines. All right, so C is the transversal. Which points, or which angles, excuse me, which angles would be considered our interior angles, or interior angles are the ones that are in between or on the inside of our 2 lines. So our interior angles would be angle 1, angle 2, angle 5, angle 6. Okay. There are special types of angles that are called alternate interior angles. All right, alternate interior angles lie on the opposite side of our transversal. So angles, in this case, angle 2 and 5, because they alternate over the transversal, and angle 1 and angle 6 would be alternate interior. Okay. Consecutive interior are ones that lie on the same side of our transversal and are still on the inside. So angles 1 and buckets. Angle 1 and angle 5, and then angle 2 and angle 6. Okay. Similarly, the exterior angles are on the outside of our two lines. Okay. So our exterior angles are angle 4, angle 3, angle 7, angle 8. And just like alternate exterior on the opposite side of the transversal. So angle 3 and angle 7 would be considered alternate exterior angles. Angle 3 and angle 7. They alternate on the opposite sides here. They alternate. I'm here, and I jump all the way down here. I'm looking at angle 4, and then I'm looking at angle 8. Wow. Angle 8. Okay. Corresponding angles. All right. Corresponding angles can be a little bit tougher to understand. All right. So I'm going to erase all this here. Okay. So my corresponding angles, they are the angles that lie in the same position as one another. All right. So you might want to write that down. Lie in same position. So what does that mean? All right, what does that mean? So if I have these angles here, okay, we'll come back to that later. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, well, which angles correspond? Which angles lie in the exact same position? Well, angle 4 is in the same position as angle 5. Angle 3 is in the same position as angle 6. Angle 1 to 7 and 2 to 8. Okay, so those pairs, corresponding angles are pairs of angles. Those pairs will be considered our corresponding angles. So I would write angle, let's give me, or boy, oh boy here. Let's see, let's go red. All right, angle 4 and angle 8. Okay, angle 3 and angle 6. All right, angle 1 and angle 7, and angle 2 and angle 8. Those all lie in our same position, like that. All right, if any of this was confusing to you, feel free to rewind and watch it again. Okay. All right. Lastly, you have this link right here. I want you to go to that link. Okay, when you go to that link, you should see a web page that looks like this. All right. And I want you to write down, so I'm going to click interior and exterior, and I want you to write down all of these angle measurements on your diagram. All right. So if this is my diagram here, okay, my angle measurements would look like this. This was 136 degrees. This is 44 degrees. This is 44 degrees. 136 degrees. This is 40. Okay, we'll have that done. All right. So name a pair of alternate interior angles. So a pair of alternate interior, they alternate on the side of our transversal. So a pair would be D and E. Another pair would be C and H. All right. I want you to complete this. Why don't you pause the video here and then try to fill out the table, and then we can go back and check your answers. Okay. Seriously, pause it. Pause it. So we got angle D and angle E. I'll just use those. All right. Well, what can you say about their measures? They're congruent. All right. Alternate exterior angles. You should have had angles A and F or angle G and B. So I'm going to write angle B and angle G, and those were congruent as well. All right. For corresponding, remember, corresponding, they have to lie in the same position. Okay, so A would correspond with H, B would correspond with E, D would correspond with G, and C would correspond with F. So any of those pairs would work, all right? I'm not going to write down all of those, just make sure you have one of the pairs, A and H, B and E, D and G, C and F, any of those would work. And what do you notice about their measures? The measures should be congruent as well. All right. Consecutive interior. So consecutive interior lie on the same side of our transversal. So D and H would be consecutive interior, or C and E would be consecutive interior. All right. So I'm going to write D and H. Well, what can you say about their measures? So I have 136 and 44. Well, they're not congruent. Okay. 136 and 44 aren't the same. All right. They're not complementary. They don't add up to 90 degrees, but they do if you add those two together. If I were to change this to a plus, they would give us 180 degrees. So consecutive interior angles should be supplementary. Okay. So what about consecutive exterior, like A and G, B and F? All right. So I'm going to write A and G down. So that is, again, 136 plus 44, which gives us 180. Holy cow, look at it. Check it out. They're supplementary as well. All right. And that is it for our 4.5 lesson. We'll do a little practice with this tomorrow, hopefully in class, and a little practice when we get back from break. Okay, we have a nice long break coming up. I hope you enjoy it. If you're not going to be here tomorrow, but if you are going to be here tomorrow, you'll have some time to work on your graded assignment. All right. If you're not going to be here tomorrow and you have it done, just turn it into the sub if it's one of those classes where I'm not here. So what is your homework tonight? That is not your homework. Sorry. Your homework tonight. Okay. Homework, graded assignment due tomorrow. So get that done. All right. It should be an easy grade. Okay. I'm hoping that you all do well on that. If you have any questions and I'm in class, feel free to ask. If the sub is here, you can work together, or someone can go down to the resource center if they have a question on that as well. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.